believes Zimbabweans are capable of spearheading game-changing, first-of-a-kind innovations that challenge the world's traditional ways of doing things. When Zimbabwean innovator and inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso paid a courtesy call showcasing his latest invention of the world's first self-powering vehicles.
The latest development in the car industry has come from somewhere no one ever imagined. Zimbabwe in Africa is set to shock the automobile industry and the world at large with a groundbreaking self-powered car.
Today we're going to be breaking down a story about an amazing techpreneur, someone who's transforming the livelihoods of a lot of people in Africa by the use of innovation and technology and free energy.
Impressively, this car doesn't need charging or fuel to work. How then does it work, you might wonder? Well, it uses radio waves, and that's not even the most shocking part. This car costs just $4,999. Is all of this even possible? To find out, join us as we explore Africa's all-new $4,999 self-powered car that has shocked the entire automobile industry. The technology of the self-powered car. Imagine a car that doesn't need to be charged, plugged in, or refueled. That's exactly what this new car that runs itself does, according to its manufacturer, Maxwell Chikumbutso from Zimbabwe. The key lies in a new type of energy system that utilizes radio waves to generate power on demand. This car doesn't use big batteries or engines that run on gas. Instead, it uses a microsonic energy device that turns radio waves into power that the car can use. In other words, the car can keep going without ever having to stop to charge. At the heart of this invention is a unique system that Maxwell Chikumbutso developed to convert energy types. The radio waves that are always around us but that we can't see or feel are what make this system work. These waves, which are already in the air, are turned into direct current electricity, which drives the electric motor in the car. It gets even more interesting. This process gets rid of the need for charging stations, gas stops, and battery changes. This makes long-distance travel easier and less reliant on external power sources. This technology is similar to the self-powered sensor in the US MIT researchers have created a battery-free, self-powered sensor that harnesses energy from its surroundings.
Well, researchers at Texas A&M University are looking to develop organic, metal-free batteries.
This innovative device eliminates the need for recharging or wiring, allowing it to be placed in hard-to-reach locations, such as deep inside machinery, where it can continuously monitor power consumption and performance. By harvesting energy from a nearby magnetic field, the sensor can clip onto an electrical wire and autonomously track temperature changes, making it a low-maintenance solution for industrial monitoring. The energy system of the car is made up of several important parts. First off, there's a sensor that looks like an antenna and picks up radio waves from the air. After that, a special energy exchanger turns these waves into a steady flow of electricity. The current is then saved in a small but very efficient power unit, which sends power to the motor when it's needed. Because radio waves are always in the air, the car has an endless power source that will keep it going as long as the system is still working. One major worry about electric cars is that they can only go so far. A lot of drivers are afraid of running out of power, especially when they're not near charging sites. This self-powered car gets rid of that issue. It can go anywhere because it makes energy while it's moving. This technology makes sure that the car never stops because the battery is dead, whether it's on the highway, in a city, or the middle of nowhere in the country. The power system is also very light compared to regular electric vehicle batteries, which is an amazing feature. Typical EVs use huge lithium-ion batteries that make the car heavier and take hours to charge.
Lithium-ion batteries are popular for a number of applications, including electric vehicles and energy storage systems, because of their high power density, low self-discharge, and relatively low cost.
The self-powered car, on the other hand, doesn't need these batteries, so it's lighter and uses less power. This makes the acceleration faster, the handling better, and the driving experience easier. Safety and dependability were also very important when this car was being made. Unlike engines that run on fuel, which emit pollution and need regular upkeep, this energy system works quietly and efficiently with little wear and tear. Because it doesn't need fuel or large batteries, it's also less likely to catch fire, making it a safer option for both gasoline and regular electric cars. Besides cars, this technology could change a lot of other things as well. The same energy system could be used for bikes, home energy systems, and even making electricity for factories. Imagine homes that never lose power because they can get power from the air, or bikes that can go from one country to another without ever having to stop for gas or to charge. There are a lot of options, and this is just the start of a huge change in how energy is used around the world. Even though some scientists are skeptical, real-life demonstrations of self-powered cars have amazed a lot of people. The car has been shown running on this new energy system alone, and experts are now paying close attention to what could be a major step forward in sustainable energy. How could this revolutionize the car and transportation industry? Let's find out in the next chapter. How the self-powered car can change the world. A self-powered car isn't just a new way to get around. It changes businesses, economies, and competition around the world. Imagine never having to worry about where to charge your car or find petrol. This self-powered car could change transportation and how businesses run. Due to its low price of $4,999, it makes owning a car possible for millions of people who couldn't before. That alone could cause the economy to grow by a huge amount, especially in new areas where transportation is hard. While $4,999 is the target cost, many believe the final manufacturing cost for the Scythe car, which is the flagship product, is $14,000. The impact on industries would be huge. If this technology takes off, it might be hard for traditional car companies and petrol companies to keep up.
A brief trip into the future with inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso. He's claiming a scientific breakthrough with this green energy technology, an electric car which he says converts radio frequencies into energy.
Countries that make oil and depend on selling fuel would have to change how they do things. At the same time, companies that make charging sites for electric cars might not need to make as many. Companies that depend on fuel and maintenance services would also have to change. The car would need less maintenance because it doesn't need fuel and has fewer moving parts. This would cut down on the need for mechanics and spare parts, but it's possible that new industries would emerge, focusing on things like manufacturing, battery technology, and high-tech electronics. For regular people, this car could help them save a lot of money. No more paying a lot of money for petrol and fixes, and maybe even lower insurance rates. The money that was saved could be used to start new businesses, get a better living, or pay for school. This is especially important in places where people spend a lot of their cash on transportation. Small businesses that depend on delivery services would be very happy because they wouldn't have to think about how much fuel costs anymore. Ride-hailing services could get cheaper, even in towns, making them easier for everyone to use. This change would have an impact on economies around the world. When economies go down, countries that depend on exporting fuel may have to invest in new businesses. On the other hand, countries that adopt this technology first might be able to lead the new market for cars. For example, Africa has always bought cars made in other countries, but this new invention could make Zimbabwe a world competitor in the car business. Other countries might start buying these cars if production is stepped up. This would help Africa's industry sector and create jobs. There would be a lot of competition from other countries. The big car makers wouldn't just watch, they would try to buy the technology or make their versions of it. The government could back or control the market by putting in place rules or giving people incentives. Some countries may fight the change to protect their current businesses, but others will see the chance and push for faster adoption. Countries that are planning to build infrastructure for electric vehicles might need to change their minds because this new technology could make charging sites useless. Not only for transportation, Being able to make electricity on the go opens up new options. In an emergency or places without power lines, these cars could be used as mobile power sources. People who live in rural areas could have a stable source of electricity if they had a car. They could save businesses money if they were used as backup power instead of costly generators. It's also clear that using fewer fossil fuels is good for the Earth. Less use of fossil fuels means less pollution and cleaner air for everyone.
You see, the vast majority of our fossil fuels come from the remains of plants and animals that lived around 300 to 400 million years ago.
This self-powered car could change industries, economies, and the balance of power around the world. Some people will fight the change, but others will welcome it and show others how to do it. In either case, when this technology is widely available, the world will never be the same again. While this might be generating a lot of buzz and chatter, not everyone believes in the authenticity of this technology. The next chapter will make you question everything. The claims of a self-powered car are fake. It sounds like something from a science fiction movie that a car can run on its own and never needs petrol, charging, or any other external energy source. What do you think? Some say this is the future of transportation, while others say it's just a smart hoax. There is a lot of disagreement about the idea that a car can run forever on radio waves or some other unknown energy source. The story starts to fall apart, though, when people look at the details more closely. Not being transparent is one of the biggest red flags of this new technology and its inventor. The technology behind this so-called breakthrough hasn't been independently verified by anyone else. The self-powered car claims are made by a company that hasn't provided any scientific studies, patents, or peer-reviewed research to support them. It's hard to believe such a bold claim without proper scientific verification. Skeptics think this could be another one of those inventions that promised endless energy, but didn't work when they were put to the test. It is thought by scientists that radio waves do carry energy, but it is very little. The technology we have now has a hard time getting enough power from radio waves in the air to even charge a phone, let unattended power a car. The laws of physics suggest that it would be very hard to turn this kind of energy into enough power to move a vehicle. If it were possible, then why haven't big automakers, colleges, or independent researchers confirmed it? This is the question that many people have. We also need to consider the previous claims of the inventor. He has talked about technology in different ways over the years. At first, he said it could make electricity from thin air, and now he says it can use radio waves. People are often suspicious of explanations that keep changing, especially when no real proof is ever given. If the technology does work, why not show it in a way that clears all doubt? That hasn't happened, and that's why so many experts are still unconvinced. There have also been fact-checkers and investigative reporters who have stepped in. Several news sources have said that the self-powered car on display may not be as groundbreaking as was reported. Some say the car is a rebranded electric vehicle with a normal battery. Some people have said that the so-called energy device that is connected to the creation is just a standard portable power station. People aren't sure if these results mean anything new at all. A big problem is that claims that are out of the ordinary need proof that is out of the ordinary. If someone did have a car that could run on electricity or petrol, the world would change in an instant. Oil companies, car makers, and energy providers would be scrambling to understand how it works. But scientists don't seem very excited about this discovery. Instead, they are mostly skeptical. That tells us a lot. Even if you don't think something good will happen, there's always a chance. There are times when people are too quick to dismiss new ideas, and breakthroughs do happen in strange places. But until there's clear independent evidence that this car does power itself without any external help, most people won't believe it. But the inventor still has to prove his claim, and he hasn't done so yet, leaving the world without enough solid proof.
And China is really breaking boundaries with its numerous robotic innovations. China's pace is so frightening that it just might have surpassed the US in this regard. Recently, several companies in China have presented different types of robots for different functions. They've gone ahead to incorporate these innovations in the transport industry as well. Despite the widespread reception, many people still have reservations about them. Why are these new robots and robotaxis generating mixed acclaim? Join as we reveal China's presentation of new robots and robotaxi, which has blown up the internet. China's new robots. China has been making news in the world of robotics by showing off some of the most cutting-edge robots that are both useful and innovative. Take the D9 humanoid robot from Pudu Robotics as an example. That thing is huge, over 5.5 feet tall, and can carry up to 44 pounds. It can also walk faster than the average person. The D9 is one of a kind because it can balance, go up and down stairs, and adjust to uneven ground. These are skills that can be used in public areas, warehouses, and even shops. It feels like something straight out of science fiction because it can talk and connect naturally thanks to advanced AI. But Pudu isn't the only one making things interesting. A bionic robot called Manchui was made by Shanghai Jiao Tong University. This robot is amazingly good at moving like a person. Here's why. As part of a live demonstration, Manchui moved in sync with a dancer, showing a level of balance and smooth motion that is rarely seen in machines. The fact that these things are possible shows how far China has come in making robots more like people. The uses for robots like Manchui are seemingly endless, whether they are used for fun, healthcare, or helping the elderly. Then there's Unitree Robotics, which is known for making the go-to robot dog and humanoid robots that are quick and fast. You can't just call the go-to a robot. It can do backflips, carry things, and even dance with 130 other robot dogs. Imagine a world where these robot dogs help people in disaster areas, do checks, or just hang out with people. These robots are innovative not only because of what they can do, but also because of how well they could fit into different parts of our lives. Dream, which is best known for its robot vacuums, has made a coffee robot, which is a humanoid robot. This robot is set up to serve coffee with great accuracy, making sure that every cup is just right. It's easy to see how these robots could do boring jobs in cafes, freeing up people to help customers. In the same way, Fourier Intelligence has made humanoids that can run on rough ground while carrying bags. These robots have the potential to change shipping and transportation in ways we can't even begin to imagine. China is not only coming up with new ideas for service robots, they are also coming up with new ideas for medical and industry uses. What about the X-20 from Deep Robotics? It's a waterproof four-legged robot designed to do checks in tough conditions. There's no problem with it on muddy roads or in bad weather. Shanghai Microport Medbot's surgical robots are changing how surgeries are done in life-threatening scenarios. Surgeons can use these tools to work from afar, which reduces stress and makes things safer for both doctors and patients. When you compare this progress to those in the US, you might think of Tesla's Optimus robotic robot. The price of Optimus, which is around $20,000 to $30,000, is about the same as some of China's humanoids and is made for industrial work. Optimus has great mobility and AI-driven features, but it seems more geared toward workplace settings. Chinese robots like the D9 or Manchui, on the other hand, are used in a wider range of settings, from retail to healthcare. American inventions like Boston Dynamics' Spot robot dog are also great at agility and dynamic jobs. However, China's Unitree Go 2 has similar features at a much lower price.
Let's play hide and go seek.
Oh, I love playing hide and seek. You count to 10 while I go hide, then try to find me. Ready, set, go.
Making it easier for people to use it every day. This huge increase in robotics creation from China shows how far the country is willing to go. There is a huge range of robots, from ones that serve coffee to ones that do surgery. In the US, development tends to focus on a few businesses. China, on the other hand, seems determined to cover all bases, making robots an important part of everyday life. It's clear that the robot race is getting tougher, and China wants to be at the front of the pack. That's not all. China has pushed its robotics into the car transport industry. China's Robotaxi. China's robotaxi technology has taken the world by storm.
What has happened is that essentially a made-in-China AI model developed by this company, DeepSeek.
In places like Wuhan, Beijing, and Shenzhen, you can now see a lot of sleek cars that don't need drivers. China's companies like Baidu and XPeng have released high-tech cars that can drive themselves, which puts them ahead of most other countries, including the US. These robotaxis use high-tech sensors, cameras, and software to safely move through busy streets. They show how transportation will work in cities in the future. In China, ordering a robotaxi is as easy as using any other ride-hailing app. However, the experience is very different when the vehicle appears. People enter a code to open the car, but the trip doesn't begin until everyone is buckled in and a button is pressed inside. The cars have glass walls, touchscreens for choosing music, and even monitors for road conditions. This makes for a safe and comfortable ride that feels both modern and useful. One thing that makes China's robotaxi services stand out is that there isn't always a human driver. Some cars have remote controllers who can take over if needed, but most trips are taken care of by the cars themselves. In the US, on the other hand, companies like Waymo and Cruise still often test their cars with safety drivers inside. The fact that Chinese robotaxis doesn't have a driver is a risky move that shows how confident the country is in its technology and regulatory backing. China is making great progress in this area, and a big reason for that is strong government support. Policies promote new ideas by funding studies, setting up testing areas, and making rules easier to understand. For instance, places like Wuhan have set areas where robotaxis can work freely. This lets companies get data from real life to use to make their systems better. In contrast, the US has laws that aren't unified. Each state makes its own rules, which can slow down implementation across the whole country. Baidu's Apollo Go service is one of the best in China for robot taxis, and it's now available in more than 10 big towns. Sometimes, during rush hour in Wuhan and other places, robotaxis share lanes with regular cars. Baidu has also worked hard to keep the price of the service low, making it less expensive than cabs and other ride-hailing services. Robotaxis is very famous because of its low prices. In the next few years, the service will be available in even more cities. XPeng is another important player that works on high-end robotaxis with unique features like entertainment systems and voice assistants. The cars put the comfort of the passengers first, while still meeting the same high safety standards as other brands. This is what makes XPeng different from companies like Waymo, which focus on functionality but don't give as many comforts inside the car. People in China like these extra features because they think they add value and make robotaxis more appealing. Robot taxi services have been tested in places like San Francisco and Phoenix in the United States by companies like Waymo and Cruise. Even though their technology is more advanced than China's, they have been more careful and slow to roll it out. For example, Waymo's robotaxis often work in small spaces and needs human safety drivers to help them out in tricky scenarios. China, on the other hand, is pushing hard to make self-driving cars a part of daily life, which has given Chinese companies a clear advantage. The way China builds its facilities is a big part of its success. Smart city technologies, like advanced traffic control systems and 5G networks, help robotaxis work better because the government has put a lot of money into them. In contrast, the US has been slower to improve its urban infrastructure, which makes it harder for robotaxis to become widely used. Focusing on facilities like this makes sure that China's robotaxis can work well even in crowded cities. A big part of China's robotaxi services' success has also been how well people like them. People in cities like Wuhan have quickly gotten used to the idea of driverless cars, and many have posted good experiences on social media. For commuters, the service is appealing because it is cheap and new, and the safety steps in place help ease worries. Robotaxis has had a harder time getting people to believe it in the US because of doubt and rules that make it hard to use. Each country is making progress with robotaxi technology in its own way, even though they are different. China is moving quickly with large-scale rollouts and public trials, while the US has been focusing on building a strong base for long-term success. When you look at the pros and cons of both methods, it's clear that China's robotaxi services have set the standard for innovation in self-driving transportation around the world. As you'd expect, people have got a lot to say about these new robots and robotaxi, and you're about to find out. Reception of China's new robots and robotaxi. The public's reaction to China's new robots and robotaxis has been mixed but undeniably intense. Some are amazed by the technological progress, especially with robots performing human-like tasks and the efficiency of autonomous taxis on busy streets. At events like the China International Import Expo, attendees marveled at demonstrations like Manchui, the bionic robot that moved in perfect sync with a human dancer. Such showcases have sparked a sense of pride in China's innovation, while also raising questions about how quickly these advancements are entering everyday life. On the other hand, concerns about job displacement have taken center stage, especially among taxi and ride-hailing drivers. In cities like Wuhan, some drivers see robotaxis as a direct threat to their livelihoods, coining sarcastic nicknames like stupid radishes for autonomous vehicles. Social media discussions about whether these vehicles are stealing jobs have gained traction, reflecting a growing anxiety about the balance between progress and its impact on workers. Many worry that if this technology keeps expanding, people at the bottom of the economic ladder might struggle to find other sources of income. At the same time, there's a growing acknowledgement of the potential benefits these innovations could bring. Robotaxis are seen as a way to improve road safety and reduce human error, with authorities in several cities enthusiastically supporting trials. Companies like Baidu and Pony.ai have ambitious plans to roll out thousands of autonomous vehicles, sparking debates about whether this rapid adoption is sustainable. People have also pointed out that, while the technology is exciting, the robotaxis aren't perfect yet. Complaints about traffic jams caused by these vehicles and their occasional mistakes highlight that there's still room for improvement. There's also curiosity and cautious optimism surrounding how these robots and autonomous cars might reshape industries like healthcare and public transport. The idea of robots assisting the elderly or driverless buses making city commutes more efficient appeals to many. However, the excitement is often tempered by fears of whether these advancements will be accessible to everyone or only benefit a select few. Some worry that focusing too much on cutting-edge technology could leave behind people who rely on traditional jobs. Globally, this wave of innovation is putting China in the spotlight, with many seeing it as a leader in robotics and AI development. This has drawn comparisons to other countries like the US, where similar technologies are advancing more cautiously due to regulatory challenges. The speed at which China is adopting robotaxis and advanced robots is remarkable, but it also comes with questions about whether the rapid pace is sustainable in the long run. While reactions remain divided, one thing is clear: these innovations are not going unnoticed. For better or worse, the robots and robotaxis have sparked conversations about the future of work, transportation, and how society can adapt to these changes. Whether people are excited, worried, or both, the spotlight is firmly on China as it races toward a tech-driven future. Just like people once doubted the Wright brothers' airplane, the idea of flying cars used to seem like pure science fiction. But now, China has introduced its first flying car, and it could change everything we know about getting around. This car can drive on roads and fly in the sky, making it a huge step forward.
This car can fly for 25 minutes with a maximum speed of around 80 miles per hour.
But the question on your mind is probably, how practical is it today? How will it change our cities, and what challenges might it face? Join us as we explore how this flying car could transform transportation, shake up the car industry, and be incorporated into our daily lives, just like aeroplanes. The flying Xpeng X2.
This is going to be a prototype for the world's first ever flying car. It's called the Xpeng X2.
After leading the world in electric car production, Chinese companies are now at the forefront of developing electric flying vehicles. China is stepping into the future of transportation with AeroHT, a company affiliated with electric vehicle maker Xpeng, successfully launching its flying car, the X2, at Beijing Daxing International Airport. This maiden flight, part of the China Langfang International Economic and Trade Fair, highlights the country's growing focus on the low-altitude economy. We'll talk more about the low-altitude economy later, but for now, let's talk about the X2 and why it is indeed extraordinary.
Glimpse of what the future of flying cars could look like. This is the X2.
The Xpeng X2 is like something out of a sci-fi movie, yet it's real and ready to take on the skies. Developed by Xpeng Aerot, this is the 5th-generation flying car that looks as futuristic as it sounds. With its sleek, teardrop-shaped design and fully enclosed cockpit, the X2 is engineered for top-notch aerodynamics and ultimate in-flight performance.
Do you think this self-powered car is real? Kindly share your answers, thoughts, and opinions in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more videos like this. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.